Hello everyone. Hope you are doing study and practicing meditation. Today we are going to discuss about the scientific base of color meditation. It is also known as aura cleansing meditation or perception of psychic colors. Color and psychology are intimately connected. Light and color profoundly affect the health and behavior of living beings. Importance of sunlight to the vegetable kingdom is universally accepted. Ancient as well as modern science have been keenly interested in the studies of the effect of different colors on the physical, mental, and emotional states and behavioral patterns of human beings as well as other animals. Scientists also believe that our entire life is profoundly influenced by colors. Today, psychologists and scientists have discovered that color is the most important of the environmental factors which affects the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious minds of a person. Color profoundly affects our entire personality. Alexander Skeses, director of the American Institute of Biosocial Research, believes that electromagnetic energy of color interacts in some still unknown way with the pituitary and pineal glands and the hypothalamus, which is located or situated in the brain. These organs regulate the endocrine system, which controls many basic body functions and emotional responses such as aggression, fear, etc. Minute amounts of electromagnetic energy from light affect one or more of the neurotransmitters, chemical messengers that carry message from nerve to nerve and from nerve to muscle. Experiments have also provided evidence that light striking the retina influences the pineal gland's synthesis of melatonin, a hormone that has been found to help determine the body's output of serotonin, a neurotransmitter. As we know that the color is also found in our aura, so color and aura are not two things. Sometimes we can say in the case of the living beings. Every object in this world, whether it is animate or inanimate, radiates energy in all directions and in the same shape as itself. These radiations are waves of electromagnetic energy and they constitute the aura. Nothing in this world exists which does not radiate energy. The aura of a living organism is produced by the radiations coming from its subtle body, Tejas body, which is known as a bioelectrical body or vital body. In this case, together with the electromagnetic energy, vital energy, which is the energy of the soul, is also radiated. Hence, the aura of an organism is bright, dynamic, and radiant, while that of an inanimate object is dull and static. The aura of an organism is not static but dynamic. Contraction, expansion, contamination, and purification, all these continuously occur in the aura of the living beings. This is because within the organism there exist the domains of psychical colors and emotions which keep it ever changing. That is a factor of distinction between an organism and an inanimate object. The latter does not possess a change producing factor. So in this way, we find that there is a light which is coming out of all the objects, whether they are animate or inanimate, but they have little bit difference because the living organisms are changing at every moment, and therefore their auras are also changing, while the inanimate objects have no such dynamic factors in them, so their aura is always static, unchangeable, remains as it is all the times. Now we would see that why we should practice this meditation. What is the importance of meditation, color meditation in the field of spirituality as well as in the field of science? So there are so many reasons we have to practice this meditation, and the first one is self-awareness and self-realization. Modern physics has already made many discoveries about matter and still continues to do so. It has been able to penetrate the atom and to analyze the structure of the atomic nucleus. But the object of its quest is the ultimate particle of matter and not the conscious reality. The psyche of the soul or soul in itself. Physics in its quest employs scientific equipments, apparatus and instruments which are themselves made from matter. Hence it can have access only to matter. The spiritual existence could never enter the range of their investigation and become the object of their quest. That is why science has not so far positively accepted the separate existence of soul. Due to this non-acceptance, the purpose of meditational practice appears to have been restricted to relaxation, easing of tensions, etc. The popular belief is that meditational practice results in physical benefits such as maintenance of robust physical health and treatment and prevention of serious mental illnesses without drugs, though valuable contributions are not the only or even the chief objective of meditational practice. Its aim in chief is realization and awareness of one's spiritual self, the real self. As long as one is not aware of his self, he cannot end his misery. The only means of eradication all suffering is realization of truth, realization and awareness of one's real self or authentic self. Now you would see that developing insight is another reason for that we have to practice this kind of meditation. Insight, that is the ability to see one's own self, means freedom from the emotional experience of joy and sorrow. Until and unless one frees oneself from this tinted outlook, one cannot realize this truth. One may become very learned and erudite scholar or may acquire proficiency in theoretical philosophy, but one cannot obtain insight. Truth is synonymous with insight, right faith, and right attitude, etc. Meditational practice aims at developing insight so that one can be aware of one's spiritual self. Who is the real knower and real seer? A man of science cannot know him, only a person can do so. By systematic and regular practice of meditation, the practitioner will progressively free his perceptions from the pollution of like and dislike, pleasure and pain. He abandons his role as a doer and assumes the role of knower. The next benefit which we get out of these kind of meditational practices is self-realization by direct experience. It is the ultimate reality that consciousness and or matter or both are existing. They have their own independent existence. Recent research in subatomic physics has answered many questions regarding the structure of matter, but as regards consciousness, there is still much ignorance, not only among scientists, but also among spiritualists. Spiritualists tend to solve the riddle of conscious existence on the basis of scriptural knowledge. They base their solutions on the precision of logical processes. They think they can realize the nature of consciousness through philosophical literature. What a pitiable paradox, that on the one hand, the nature of consciousness is propounded emphatically to be beyond logic, literature, and language, while on the other hand, they want to realize the nature of consciousness through direct personal experience. Without experience, no one can comprehend it. Scriptures and philosophical literature are expressed in language. Language is very helpful for conveying useful and important information, but whoever tries to communicate experience through it is very much mistaken. All that any language can do is to talk about an experience, but description of an experience is not the experience itself. It is only discussion about it. Whenever anyone did have the experience after learning from books, the experience came from the book. The process is to purify the perspective, competence, and raise the level of consciousness. For a practitioner, striving for a personal experience is an inherent part of the process. Hence, it is incumbent upon him to do so. He must not depend too much on books and beliefs, but on himself. This does not mean that we ignore or forget what we already know from books. It means that the practitioner must himself realize his own real self. The inspiration must come from within. The scriptures are emphatic about the reality of the consciousness, but again, what they say is lingual expression about truth, a belief or faith. When, as a result of regular meditational practice, one becomes enlightened by insight, and when he is face to face with his real self, he knows that it is real. Then he not only knows but is aware of his real self. It is the truth itself, the truth of experience, and it can be realized only by practice of meditation. There is no other truth of experience. Now we see that the meditational practices are capable to make our personality integrated and not fragmented. So the preceptors of spiritual science have propounded the process of self-realization in such a lucid and systematic manner that if one takes the trouble of acquainting himself with the process and practices it, he will find no difficulty in integrating and developing his personality. The doctrine of psychical colors is not a mere theoretical tenet, nor is is it pure sophism? It indeed is a logical expression of philosophical truth. But it is not a mere persuasive discourse. It is not only theoretically sound, but an efficient practical technique for searching and realizing the truth. The crux of being religious is to make progress on the path of internal change, to go ahead in the direction of transmutation. The advent of the red color of the rising sun and spiritual progress are synchronous events. In first, the starting point of a spiritual progress is transmutation of the psychic colors into the color of the rising sun. When the color of rising sun is activated, it produces benign spiritual radiations, and these in turn become the catalyst for attitudinal change and personality development. The entire course of spiritual progress is the process of metamorphosis, and it has a preset curriculum. Whoever accepts this course positively transmutes his psychical colors. He transcends and transmutes the vicious psychical colors and enters the realm of the positive psychical colors and experiences their beneficial radiations. Under the shelter of the benign psychical colors, the attitudes get automatically converted. Thus, transmutation is concomitant with behavior modification and development of integrated personality. Perception of psychic colors is the means of achieving it. There is a chemical transformation and transmutation of psychical colors. To understand it, we have to understand that devout austerities, practice of yoga and meditation aim at internal chemical transformation. Missing a meal, fasting, body postures, controlled breathing, and other yogic exercises change the body chemistry. Confession and penance, humbleness, scriptural studies, etc. are internal austerities. Cleansing streams of expiation wash and purify the internal distortions. Humbleness counteracts the evil effects of arrogance and haughtiness. All these changes are produced by chemical transformation within the body. Practice of meditation, however, is the most powerful of all, which produces internal chemical transformation. Perception of psychic centers and perception of psychic colors produce astonishing results. The change is more profound and radical because there is a fundamental change in inner structure of emotions. Perception of psychic colors on psychic centers produces forces and radiations which are diametrically opposite to those produced by the karmic body. This technique of meditation operates by producing benevolent color waves which are able to neutralize the malevolent waves and transmuting the synthesization of impulse-producing hormones. This double action successfully reduces the strength of the assaulting force and foils its attack. Now, this meditation can also be taken as a psychotherapy. Color affects us both physiologically as well as psychologically. Color therapy is used to cure somatic illness and mental imbalance. Color is also useful for modifying our moods and behavior. Perception of psychic colors is an efficient psychotherapy for remedying spiritual incompleteness and stupor and reducing inner discord. Psychological distortions and vitiated thoughts produce and accumulate toxic matter inside the body. The psychical colors is you can say are unique process of catharsis for cleansing the body. Color therapy and what we say this kind of meditation on colors purge out the accumulated toxic matter and purify the emotions and thought. When the attitude is positive and unvitiated, the thoughts are also virtuous and pure. Thoughts are not directly affected by what we say any kind of innate malevolent feelings. Thoughts are produced by cerebral activity and learning. Thought, memory, contemplation, analytical faculty, assessment, and all other such faculties are branches of knowledge and are therefore cerebral functions. On the other hand, emotions are endocrine expression. We have two controlling systems in the body, the endocrine system and the nervous system. The former produces emotions and the latter produces thought. Thought has a little influence on emotions, but the latter has profound effect on the former. Emotions being to the field of action, that is why one should not worry too much about one's thoughts. Let those who externalize make thought their chief concern, but for those who want to internalize and those whose main concern is inner harmony, what we say inner harmony, thought is of little significance. They should concentrate on the purity of emotions. The simplest cathartic for what we say purifying the emotion is the perception of bright colors. When we visualize the above bright colors and intensify the visualization, our emotions and attitudes change automatically. There is no scope for thinking or contemplating. The radiant energy of bright colors neutralize the waves of thought, uncertainty, and delusion. They subside. At the same time, the delusion subsiding waves are reinforced and activated. By the process of catharsis, let us purge out our distortions and make our emotions as pure as snow. Let us apply the psychotherapy of Lesha meditation, which is called the color meditation, to cure physical, mental, and emotional sickness. Let us cure physical disorders and their cause, remove mental imbalance and their cause, eradicate psychological distortions and their cause. Let us annihilate the root cause of all these disorders by the application of the proper therapy. For those who desire to regain the maintain physical, mental, and emotional health as well as spiritual progress, the doctrine of Lesha will not remain a mere theoretical tenet, but will prove to be a complete and comprehensive therapy to cure all evils. So in this way, we have seen that there are so many benefits of practicing this particular meditation, which is known as meditation of color or psychical colors, or meditation for cleansing of aura. Now the floor is open for discussion or any questions. If somebody has any questions, they are free to ask questions. And after this question answer session, we will practice meditation, especially the meditation of color, and we'll see that how color affects our life, our emotions, our mental states, and our behavioral patterns.